The following is a paid program, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent the opinions of the management of this station or Hamel Broadcasting.
This is 1 in 31, a presentation from Anderson Center for Autism. 1 in 31 is a weekly show devoted to autism spectrum disorder.
Good morning and welcome to 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topic of autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, Chief Development Officer at Anderson Center for Autism, and I'm talking today with Ashley Quitoni, CrossFit coach with Adaptive 845. Ashley, hello, and thank you for being on the show.
Hi, I thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. We use this podcast as a way to just spread the word as much as we can about, really interesting, innovative, needed supports, services, opportunities, even, authors, just anything out there where people are doing good things for autistic people and their families, their caregivers, or something in the field. We like to use this as an opportunity to share that information. So you are here today, I think, to talk specifically about your role as a CrossFit coach. CrossFit kind of freaks a lot of people out. I'm sure you hear that.
Yep.
I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible. I'm very excited to hear how you create an adaptive CrossFit program. So we're going to talk about all of that. But why don't we start with some of your background, just like where it all started and who you are. Let our listeners get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, so I've always been pretty athletic growing up. Never really in the gym space, to be honest. I kind of found the gym and CrossFit after I had kids. Because CrossFit, some people, it is working out, but it's also a sport, right? And it's something that I was able to do, but not necessarily to the same intensity as the professional athletes that you see on TV. That is not what CrossFit is all about. Yes, there's a portion of CrossFit, but CrossFit is more of a functional movement, right? It's learning how to move your body properly so that as you're aging, we can make sure that, if you're in the 80s, you can go to the grocery store and you can bring your groceries back in the house by yourself. Okay. Right? You need to walk up a set of stairs. We're working on box step-ups, which then is going to transfer into just getting up a flight of stairs. So there's a good functional fitness aspect of CrossFit that a lot of people don't see. So that's explanation number one, which I appreciate. So I'm already seeing what you're talking about in terms of taking what happens in a gym setting, or maybe if you have equipment at home, using that at home, but connecting it to real world, real life movement throughout the day and staying limber and comfortable and able and independent in your mobility for as long as possible. Great. Okay. Yep. All right. I get that part because not everybody has a ranch house. Some people still have to deal with stairs. So how did you come into going from an athletic person your whole life into this, and then also the adaptive aspect? Well, I have a child with Down syndrome. And I also helped run the Hudson Valley Down Syndrome Association for about 10 years. Okay. Just being within the special needs community, both professionally and also as a parent, I saw a big need for our population just to get out there and have the same ability and opportunities as everybody else in the world, right? Fitness is for everyone. It shouldn't just be who is able to walk into the gym and speak for themselves. It should be opened up to everyone. Right. So a lot of times, sorry, I'm going on a little rant here.
No, it's so good. Go ahead.
The parents, a lot of the times parents will come to me first and they're not 100% sure if it's something that their child can do or their adult child can do. Right. So a lot of times what I do is I want to meet first. Before anything, we meet, we have a conversation and I show the space. All right. Reason for that is because a lot of the times just walking through the door is tough. Yes. Right. Getting an individual through those doors, being comfortable with it and being okay, it could be hard. Yeah. So that first meeting, there's no pressure. We're having a conversation, and depending on the age, we might just be playing or they're walking around and just touching the equipment. As long as we touch the equipment and it's a positive experience, we're going to give praise. at that point.
Great. So you touched on a couple points. I'm going to just go back over that a little bit because I think a lot of important things there. You know, sports is not just for one section of the population. It's also the health aspects and wellness aspects of staying active and being involved in some type of movement, whether it's, yoga to, I don't know, pickleball, like that's the latest, right? Is whatever it is that there's also something very significant that happens in one's brain when you're exercising and able to stay active, which regardless of whether you're a neurotypical person or neurodivergent, or challenging in any way, there is still that endorphin release, right? And that sense of that really positive feeling that often brings a sense of calm and peace and strength and like confidence, as well as helping you gain strength, physical strength and mobility. So is that something that you saw in your own child or you experienced when you were running the other program? Like, did you see did you ever observe things and say, if this person was out on a walk, if this person was bike riding or playing on just shooting hoops on the basketball court, I think that they would feel better. Sometimes you look at someone and you're just like, I can feel that you want to feel better. Did you have those experiences like leading up to creating this program?
Absolutely. Yes. 100%. And it's as simple as, some of the events that we would go to, a lot of the times they're sitting and it's a craft and it's like an activity, but they want to move.
Yeah.
They need to move.
Right.
Right. Those endorphins need to get flowing. They need to feel that they're capable, right, of just sitting at a table and doing a craft because they are.
Well, and I think that's a really interesting point because it's very natural and normal and traditional to have to think. And I was a teacher for a long time before I came to Anderson. I taught elementary school kids, and like your first go-to is, well, we want to have a calm environment, so let's have everybody doing like a quiet type of art project or a crafting project or reading, independent reading or something like that. But for the kids who need to move in order to calm their brains, that was a terrible experience for those kids. And I don't mean to laugh because the reality is you could see it. And so if you're in a position where you can provide some instruction while walking or while on the playground or something, I used to occasionally see like that's the breakthrough, that's the way in for that person. Now going back to CrossFit itself, I said earlier, people talk about it all the time. If you watch it on TV, a lot of us might say, well, we could never do that. I could never see myself being able to do that. So what's your message to people who are like really starting at ground zero when it comes to exercise? Is there a way in to CrossFit from really just like, I've been sitting for a really long time?
There absolutely is.
Tell us about that.
I have a client that I'm working with now. He just turned 20. We're working privately. The parents did not, like I said, they didn't know if this was going to work. So we met. I gave them a free session. I'm like, this is what it's going to look like. Let's see if it's something that he's interested in doing and that you're also interested in doing as well with your son. We worked up. I mean, we completely worked up to it. From the beginning, I had to work after hours because he couldn't deal with all the other noise and other people in the gym. So we would meet after hours. To the point now with the movement, he has completely opened up. We are in the gym and working out while people are in the gym with him.
So it helped him even deal with that stimulation outside of just the work he's doing with you. Amazing.
It's incredible. And there were times like in the beginning where his mom would say, sometimes we can't get him to bed until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He meets with me and he's out by 9:30, 10 o'clock, sleeping.
Yeah. Because his body is actually tired, which, that's another thing. And at Anderson, I know it's sort of just on a kind of parallel point. There are a lot of people with autism or other neurodivergencies. It can really, like so many things, can mess with your sleep patterns, which then thereby we know and lack of sleep has huge implications on pretty much all aspects of one's life. So there's a number of times that we see students coming to us taking things like melatonin or other sleep aids to sleep at night because sleep is so important. And also if you're living in a home with, a household with your family, and you're up all night and everybody else is needing to sleep, it gets really difficult. And one of the things a very simple thing that we found is very effective is we have a lovely campus, and it's about a mile to walk around the whole campus. And staff take students for walks all the time. And we all of a sudden see, in not every case, but certainly a lot, that we've been able to diminish or completely eliminate the need for sleep aids because of just that physical, actual I'm tired, which it can lead to that, as opposed to, again, some of the things that happen in one's life that make it so you're sort of forced out of a safety reason to be more sedentary, or just, you're certainly not going to take a walk in an environment where there's a possibility one could bolt and end up in a very scary, risky situation. So we get all that, but I think exercise has a really great place in this community. So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to make sure we talk about how people can find you and get in touch with you, and also just some of the more specific things that you might work on with somebody coming to see you, and the age ranges and all that, those details. Sure. All right. This is 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky, and we'll be right back.
I'm Angela Bassett. As a first responder on screen, I know what it means to act fast in an emergency. In real life, the same urgency can save lives, especially when it comes to food allergy. For 33 million Americans, one bite can cause a life-threatening reaction. Now, there's a needle-free option, a new way to carry epinephrine. Know the risk, know the options. Be ready to act. Learn more at foodallergy.org/ready to act.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
2 words come to mind for me. One is responsibility, the other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please, help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
And now 1 in 31 continues on 100.7 WHUD. This is a weekly community affairs presentation from the Anderson Center for Autism.
Welcome back to 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky from Anderson Center for Autism, and I'm talking today with Ashley Quitoni, who is a CrossFit coach with Adaptive 845. So, Ashley, your enthusiasm comes across clearly as you're talking about what you do. And let's talk just really quick about what Adaptive 845 is. Is it a location of a gym? Is it something is there a website or a social media people should know about to try to be able to find you?
Yeah, we do. If you go to our Facebook page, CrossFit 845, we do have posts throughout there as well as our CrossFit 845 Instagram page.
Great.
I do have a website as well. Mm-hmm. If you go to adaptive.crossfit845.com, you'll see a little intro video to the original 8-week program that we had started. Happy to say that 8-week program has now turned into a weekly class. We meet every Tuesday and Thursday from 11:30 to 12:30 p.m.
That's amazing. And where is it located? It
is right on 376 in Wappingers Falls. If you know where Betty Jean's dance studio is and McDonald's, it's right in that plaza there.
Great. So you're local to Anderson, which is nice, and good to know that you're out there. For people who might be listening from farther away, Ashley, are you a person that if somebody wasn't local but wanted to talk to you more about what you do, or if you might know somebody who's in the same space closer to where they live, can people contact you? Are you happy to talk to people about where they can find and where they can pursue this if they're not able to get to Wappingers?
Absolutely. Yes.
Great. So I would assume we want to make sure people know CrossFit 845 on Facebook and Instagram. And you said adaptive.crossfit845.com?
That is correct.
All right. So we'll make sure we include that in the link when we send this out on our social media channels so that people can hear the podcast and also know how to reach you really quickly.
Okay.
So let's just say I'm the parent of maybe a young child. How young of a child person can you work with?
Right now, my youngest is 7, actually.
Okay.
It really depends on the child, especially that young. A lot of the times it's going to look like play, right? So I'll ask the parents if they have any favorite music. We can create our own playlist just for that child. And I kind of use that as a reward system as well. So we'll set up where we're maybe doing a little bit of jumping. I'll set up, we have a low balance beam that's on the floor. We are working on balance. We're working on coordination. A lot of the times they don't even realize we're working out because we're having fun. We're playing.
Well, I mean, anything worthwhile should hopefully have that kind of element where at least a part of it is really enjoyable, and you kind of lose that. You can refocus that part of your brain in a different way. So I think that's great. Do your students need to be verbal in any capacity? Do they need to be vocal communicators, or can they come in and communicate with you in different ways, or picture exchange or gesturing, as long as they're able to be safe with the gym equipment, I would assume?
That is correct. Yes. I work with quite a few who are nonverbal. They have their own little ways of communicating with me. And honestly, the longer that we work together, the more that I learn their body language, and we are able to create a bond and a system that works between us. I mean,
that's great.
Working with each individual, everybody's different, right? Everybody has different cues, and that's okay. And that's what it's about. It's about allowing them to be themselves safely, but still get a good workout in.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like you offer some flexibility, and I'm not going to promote the idea of you constantly working after hours in an empty gym, but it sounds like you're the kind of person that somebody could talk to you about maybe some different ways to at least get started. If that person needed some flexibility that is a little bit more than someone else. Great. Yep. Now, if somebody, there's a growing number of adults, young adults, older adults, independent adults who are autistic or otherwise neurodivergent, self-advocates who are looking. I hear these stories all the time, but I'm looking for something that works for me. This sort of myth, thankfully, continues to get busted, which is the idea that autistic people do not want to interact in their communities or do not want to interact socially. And I'm so grateful to so many people who are coming forward and really just saying that's just not true. I think it's got much more to do with society's expectation for so long that interaction looks a certain way and only a certain way. So if somebody were to come to you and maybe they're comfortable disclosing their status, maybe they're not, and say, I'm looking for this kind of, training or support, are you open to working also with somebody who's an independent adult, but again, might just want to be working with somebody who kind of gets them, but isn't necessarily talking about it?
Yes. 100%. So our gym, I have to say, our entire gym community, not just the adaptive portion, is so inclusive. And that's what is really just so amazing about our location, is because we do have some individuals who are neurodivergent and just have intellectual disabilities. They may have started out in private training or an adaptive class, but we're also building them into regular classes. Right. So it is certainly something that we are able to work with. Anyone That's great. And everyone is welcome.
That's great. I think, staying active in any capacity is great. And honestly, I'm not currently doing it, but I used to work out at a gym, and the social opportunities there also, all of a sudden, if you're a person who's not maybe going to go to a restaurant or hang out at a bar or, join a hiking club, those things always sounded great to me. And then I'd be like, I'm not doing that today. That's just too overwhelming, the idea of joining a club. But going and having something to do physically, which gives you something to do while also practicing kind of the art of being open to social connections. A gym's a great place to do that because you can or you don't have to, but the opportunity is kind of there if you want it.
That's correct.
Also in a really healthy environment. So I love that you're also working with your colleagues to move people into the less adaptive programs when they're ready. That's that gives
Yep.
people another goal. I love that.
Yeah, and we do. You talk about the social aspect of the community as well. We do a lot of that. So one of my biggest things, especially with starting this program, is to get the adults connected, because a lot of the time it's hard for them to find, unless they're in the same program or same work, to find other individuals who have the same interests, right? And I'll put it out, hey guys, do you want to go to the driving range and just shoot some golf balls? Sometimes they want to go, sometimes they don't. That's fine. Or take a walk at Bowdoin Park, just other things outside of the gym for us to get together, be social, and be active.
That's great. And when you do that, do you go with them?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're sort of like this glue, this comfort, the constant, and then, and also prioritizing all of those, the exercise as well as the social. I think that's a great model. And I don't know, you seem, as you're talking about it, you seem very natural at it, but I would think that it takes somebody who feels comfortable in that role to really do all of that stuff and not kind of be like, this is my job and now I'm leaving and I'll think about you next time I have you for a session.
Yeah, no, I think it has a lot to deal with, like I said, the fact that my son has special needs. So it's something that I've not only have my son, but I also grew up, my mother was a bus driver. So where did it start? My mom drove a van. And at that point, it was legal to bring your kids on the bus. So I was 3-4 years old on the special needs bus with my mom. And that's where I would sing with them. I would play with them. And I really believe that that's where it started for me.
Oh, what an incredible experience.
Yep.
That's great. And so awesome that you've brought it through the rest of your life. And through your profession. That's awesome. I want to make sure that I ask if there's any upcoming promotions, events, new things that you're starting to launch that you want to talk about and get people excited about that might be coming soon.
Not events with that just yet, but we are going to be starting teams for the local walks and stuff around. So I'm looking to get a team together for the polar plunge. We're doing the Down syndrome buddy walk in October, and I want to start a team for the autism walk as well. So that's my next adventure, to get included with all of those as well.
That is wonderful. I know that that's a great way to get out, have some social opportunities. You're doing it for a good cause, and get connected with your community. So I love that. If somebody was listening and wanted to, get to know more information, about how to join one of those teams, should they reach out to you via Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah. They can reach out via that, or we actually have a phone number that people can reach out on as well. Okay. Our phone number is 845-335-8718. You could either call or send a text message, and that actually will come right to my phone.
Wonderful. So I think that this is great. I'm so excited that we have you and Adaptive 845 and CrossFit right here in the Hudson Valley. But remember, if you're not in the area and you're listening and you're excited about what Ashley's talking about, reach out to her, and she might know somebody in your area who can work with you or your loved one. And maybe there's somebody listening who wants to follow suit and start a program of their own. And I would think that Ashley might be helpful in terms of sharing some expertise. So I'm just going to throw everything out again so people can hear it again. It's Ashley Quitoni, CrossFit coach with Adaptive 845. You can find CrossFit 845 on Facebook and Instagram. You can go to adaptive.crossfit845.com. And they're in Wappingers Falls, New York, which again is a really easy place to access in the Hudson Valley. It's probably about an hour or so north of New York City, near public transportation, so pretty easy to get to. And you can call or text 845-335-8718 for more information from Ashley. Ashley, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Really exciting to learn about who you are and what you do. And thank you for what you do. I'm sure it's having an impact on a lot of people.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is 1 in 31, the weekly talk show on topics related to autism spectrum disorder. I'm your host, Eliza Bozensky. And remember, Anderson cares.
You've been listening to 1 in 31, a weekly presentation from Anderson Center for Autism. Join them for another edition of the show next weekend.